All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
Ivan was an old bear tracker. Tom was a man with dreams. And Ernie came along and I wrote the songs about a creature that few's ever seen. Monsters, myths, and mysteries, legend, tales, and facts. It brought us all together, and it's a reason for the fact. Up in North California, where the redwoods reach the skies, three men with a goal and a pact that they'd hold, and a promise till the day that they died. Answers to the questions no one's found before. Driving determination, the only key they had to unlock the door.
And welcome back, everyone. My name is Rob McConnell. This is the X Zone, and we're coming to you from Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, on the all-new X Zone Broadcast Network and the Talkstar Radio Network. Email xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, on MSN Messenger, xzoneradiotv@hotmail.com, and our website, www.xzoneradiotv.com. My guest this hour is Todd Standing, and he is a documentarian responsible for the Chronicles of Sylvanik and the website www.sylvanik.com. That is spelled SYLVANIC.com. Todd has developed a rapport with several First Nation elders that has allowed him to document the native legends and folklore passed down through their oral traditions. Having gained a solid scientific background from his years of study at the University of Alberta, Todd has successfully combined years of theoretical knowledge with thousands of hours of hands-on practical experience in the depths of the Canadian wilderness. He has led dozens of expeditions into Bigfoot territories and has recorded 2 compelling pieces of video evidence. Todd's work will explain in no uncertain terms what these animals are, where they have managed to survive while civilization has continued to envelop this planet, how they have managed to evade modern man, and what must transpire to ensure the most man-like primate on the planet guarantee their future in this rapidly changing environment. Todd's primary goal in his research and cooperation is to authenticate one of the most controversial issues in anthropology's history and illuminate mankind to the reality of what might be the most significant scientific discovery of our time. And we've had the pleasure of having Todd on the X Zone 2 previous times. And Todd, welcome back. Great having you with us.
Thanks for having me.
Tell me, Todd, what have you been up to over the last 2 years?
We have been just expanding and growing and cooperating with all sorts of different people. After I took the documentary on tour and got my species protection petition certified and whatnot, I started to meet back with the people that I'd met while I was touring my documentary, different experts in the wilds, forestry officers, even scientists from as far away from as China, that were just giving me information and cooperating with me. And we were looking for a new research site that was permanently inhabited by the species commonly referred to as Bigfoot. And that's what in August of this year, we have definitively discovered a new site that is entirely uncompromised. Me and 3 other people in the world know about it, 4 of us in total. And we are going to begin this definitive study of Bigfoot. We're going to do everything that's... And actually, what our ultimate goal is to find an intact body that's expired due to natural causes. So that's what our focus is. And also working on the American side of the petition, we were tremendously successful in Canada with our petition. We did everything we needed to do with that. And the government of Canada was very reasonable with us and basically just said, look, when you find a body, here's the people you present it to. If these men look at a body, and an intact body, a fully intact body, no more hair or feces because all that's been done. They want an intact body. And once they've analyzed it and they agree that this is a new species of primate, in Canada I will immediately have my species protection. I won't have to go through all the red tape that you'd have to go through otherwise. And we're working on that in the United States as well, the same thing, where we want to be able to just present a body to the appropriate government officials. And the reason for that is as soon as this species is recognized, forestry officers and wildlife officers will have to come and help us. Right now, the first thing I ever did was I went to forestry officers and wildlife officers and I said, look at all this evidence I have, come with me and help me.
Mm-hmm.
And they couldn't, because there's no law. There's no recognition of the species whatsoever. So with not so much, and it is about protection, but it's also about getting the help, identifying the species, because this is an enormous job too. Even figuring out all the little habitats and different pockets that these animals inhabit in the United States is going to be a tremendous amount of work, far beyond the capabilities of my cooperation.
Todd, stand by. You and I have to take a 2-minute commercial break. Todd Standing is our very special guest for this hour, X Zone Nation. www.sylvanic.com, SYLVANIC.com. And we're talking about the protection of Bigfoot this hour here on the X Zone, live and around the world from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, on the all-new X Zone Broadcast Network and the Talkstar Radio Network. We'll be back on the other side of this 2-minute commercial break talking about Bigfoot. Don't go away.
What's it take to be a believer? Tell me who's to say. You think that we'd have come this far, looking back on yesterday? Because you hadn't seen sun, you tend to disbelieve. Though you've never known death, when someone dies, you grieve. Though you never seen the good Lord, there's ones that worship Him each day. Find them in the chapels and on their knees to pray. What's it take to be a believer?
Todd Standing is my special guest this hour, X Zone Nation. His website is www.sylvanic.com. That's SYLVANIC.com. And we're talking about the protection of Bigfoot. Todd, I'd like to ask you a question at this point. First of all, congratulations on all the great work that you're doing to protect Bigfoot. My hat is off to you, as well as to the Canadian government for taking it seriously. However, Todd, how come after all these years of people combing the wilderness looking for a Bigfoot cadaver, one has not been found yet?
The species is so specialized. They do so many amazing things. Animals are amazing. They do incredible things. But when it comes to primates, I mean, there's so many reasons I can go over. For example, like it's commonly known in the Bigfoot community, these animals are nocturnal, so do things at night. But probably more importantly, I think it's because a community, they thrive together, they exist together, and they're very aware that men are dangerous. Men kill things. Men are, the most dangerous predator on the planet. And I think they do everything they can to ensure that men stay away, and leaving footprints behind or tracks or a body even perhaps would lead to the discovery of them, or lead to, perhaps a man with a rifle showing up. And I think they do everything they can to avoid that. Besides the fact that you're talking about a species that exists in very low numbers. Like the species, I've met hunters who've hunted their whole lives in the wilderness and never found, a bear skull or a mountain lion skull. So the wilderness really takes care of its own. It really, and even if somebody did find a Bigfoot leg, they would just assume it, it belongs to a bear or an elk. Like how many anthropologists or, professional forensic experts do you have out there in the wilderness looking for bones and analyzing these bones? And the answer is, there's virtually none. And these animals, they have no tolerance for human habitation, at least from my studies. So there's, even when you do find bears and other animals, it's because they're living close to mankind. And these guys don't do that, don't tolerate humans whatsoever. And what do they do with their dead? I have no idea. There's evidence to show that Neanderthals 60,000 years ago had even did stuff with their dead, where they piled up their dead in certain spots. So perhaps it's something these animals do as well, where they bury their dead. I really, it's just speculation, I don't know. But when you start to, like I have, when you really start to understand all the things that this amazing species does to avoid people, it doesn't become some miracle of an impossibility. It really becomes very reasonable when you understand, even with a professional hunter. I'll sit down with a pro hunter and I'll talk to him why these animals evade. The most coveted prey in North America pretty much is white-tailed bucks. They're extremely difficult to get near, and I learned from I guess you'd call them civilized hunters, what they look for and how they discover these animals. And when I sit down with a civilized hunter and I say, what if a white-tailed buck stood together in communities? Well, that would be tremendous. What if they had no tolerance for human habitation? Well, I'd never find them then. And I go through a few more things. What if they were nocturnal? What if they had high ground? What if in high ground they had a strategy to evade people? And you talk to a pro hunter, he'll tell you, if white-tailed bucks did that, you'd never get near them. And now this impossible species that's just, nobody can get near is a reality. Like, you can really start to understand how the reality of this can exist. Animals are amazing. Where
did your interest and your desire to help Bigfoot come from?
Well, initially, I was a skeptic. I didn't believe in it at all. I contrived when I was in the University of Alberta, called a hoax and mistaken identity theory, and it was with the First Nations people and earning their trust and them earning mine that I started to understand. And after I shot 2 pieces of video footage, one that's online, video 2 and video 3, I was the miracle of this reality. Like, the most man-like primate species is real. When that hits you, when you really understand that these animals are absolutely real, it's a miracle. And I don't know who wouldn't be inspired to, go forward and do what's right, because I think that we should understand the species. I think we should learn to find a way to coexist with them, especially because civilization is taking away all the wilderness. And you can annihilate this species without ever having proven its existence, because they don't tolerate any human habitation. So as humans grow and expand, these animals lose habitat. And it doesn't take a genius to figure out loss of habitat equals loss of life. And these guys are dwindling species. As civilization encroaches on them, they lose less and less habitat, and there's less and less of them. And that it doesn't make me happy, because I feel like I have a responsibility, especially with the First Nations people that have really entrusted me with so much knowledge. To them, I feel I owe this enormous responsibility, because it's such a miracle these animals are real, and what an amazing discovery. When people realize that these animals are real, it's going to shake up the scientific community right to its foundations. It's going to blow people away, and I'm excited about that.
Todd, what is the history of Bigfoot with the members of the First Nation?
They've always, in virtually every First Nations language, every language I've dealt with, they'll have a name for this animal, and it's not some kind of ghost or spirit. It's a name like a bear, like deer, Bigfoot, and they always have a name for it that has special reverence, like Boss of the Mountain or Shadow Guardians of the Mountain. The Sasquatch itself is actually mistranslated. It was translated to mean Wild Man of the Wilderness, and that's not the case. It's Wild Master of the Wilderness. And when you talk about people, First Nations people, who literally, when we first came here, we entirely were dependent on them for our survival. These people who have never been matched in their outdoor experience. Like, when you talk about someone like Geronimo, he had his tribes hiding from American and Mexican governments permanently. They couldn't find him. It took another First Nations tractor to go find him and his people who were living in the mountains. And these people who have this incredible expertise know this species is real. It's almost, I feel like a fool looking back at myself, going to First Nations people and being absolutely sure these animals aren't real, and going to them who are absolute experts, 20,000 years experience here, at least, arguably, and telling them, oh yeah, you believe in Bigfoot? No, you're crazy. And that's where it starts. And when you start like that with First Nations people, it's really disrespecting them. It's like going to a heart surgeon and telling him his business. Like, he doesn't know what he's talking about. I mean, the man's, he's got 8 years of school and he's an expert. And First Nations people, they live and breathe this stuff. Half the people that I deal with, they're outdoor experts, and they don't think this species is real. They absolutely know it, and it's crossing that boundary, crossing that barrier. Because I was born and raised on cement my whole life. I don't know anything about the wilderness, and if you see how incredible these First Nations trackers are, like they'll follow a trail running, and I don't know what the heck, like how he's following this. People, a question I was asked recently was, there's all these still cameras like in Virginia or Kentucky somewhere. Apparently there's tens of thousands of still cameras all over the place, and they never get a shot of Bigfoot. Well, if you knew the expertise this species would have, like they can when you're born and raised in the wilderness, and you're taught by other wilderness experts on how to look and how the wilderness becomes a different view for you. Like, everything is different. You see things, you perceive things differently. And they would see those cameras a mile. They would see your tracks leading to a camera like a big fluorescent line to them. And when you get down to that kind of experience and knowledge and expertise, it's so far above us that, some people think they're ahead, they're so far behind. I really experienced that.
Todd, I look at the world a little differently than most people that are in the media. I believe that humans are at the very bottom of the totem pole when it comes to the animals kingdom.
Yeah.
We're at the bottom because the other animals that we are blessed to share this world with, they don't cause wars. They don't kill unnecessarily. They don't deprive each other of food. They protect each other. They work together in communities. We can learn a lot from the animals that we share the earth with. And the members of the First Nations, whether it's in the United States or Canada, they realized this thousands and thousands of years ago. And yet we're so damn naive that we don't stop and listen and learn.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's just any study of animals. I always try to, I've been studying other primates and even getting off into especially specialized sensory perceptions like bats. And I recently learned about dolphins. Dolphins are incredible animals.
Yes, they are.
And we abuse them. A dolphin from hundreds of meters away can look at a woman and see she's pregnant. They can see with their sonar. They can see your heart rate and your lungs that you're breathing, like inside your body. And people wonder. And I believe Bigfoot, or this species, has a sensory perception that's somehow specialized as well. And people are, how can an animal do that? Well, how can a bat pick a mosquito out of the air when it's in pitch black and it's blind?
Exactly.
Animals do incredible things.
Yes.
And this species it's actually, I believe, obviously this species is the most man-like species on the planet. And a lot of the people that don't agree with what I'm doing have the perception that this species should be left alone. They've survived alone. That bridging that gap between civilization and this species would be detrimental to them. And they may be right. That's something that I think about and toil with every day. But I believe that when primatologists and scientists understand the reality of the species, I believe everything will change dramatically. I believe primatologists will jump right on board. I mean, there's so many people that do have passion and love animals. And it's those people that I want to convince of this. And when they get on board and they start participating in this cooperation, I know and I absolutely believe that humanity can make this step and start protecting the species, because this species can't be put in a zoo. I know First Nations people that'll die before they ever see that happen. They have an enormous reverence for this species, and I'm very much on board with that. And that's something that we're going to have to. It's going to be different with this species. Yeah. I think even right now with primates, there's a question about sentience, and do they have enough consciousness to make it immoral to keep them in captivity? And I absolutely know that this species does have enough of that sentience where it qualifies to fall into that category to be inhumane to put it in zoos.
I don't know, Todd. I don't agree with zoos. I never have. I never will. I don't believe animals should be penned up. And is it possible, Todd, that Bigfoot is the missing link that science has been looking for so long?
I don't support that at all. I believe that they've evolved separately. I believe they have their own, because there's so many things unique about them. When you've seen the really, really good footprints.
Hey, Todd, you and I have to take a commercial break with the news. I want to thank you so much for coming on, and once again, congratulations on the great work that you've done and that you're still doing to protect Bigfoot. Todd Standing's our special guest, X-Zone Nation. Visit his website, www.sylvanic.com, www.sylvanic.com. Todd and I will be back on the other side of this news break as the X-Zone continues from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, right here on the X-Zone Broadcast Network and the Talkstar Radio Network. By the way, the iTunes are back up and running.
Radio.
Welcome to the X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
Out in the swamps, what you think I've seen? Something strange, Sasquatch sitting on the cypress knee, and he was talking to Moccasin Joe. Well, the party they gonna have Out in the St. John swamps, the Sasquatch doing a brand new dance, and he called it the Bigfoot Stomp. Do the Bigfoot boogie, yeah, the Bigfoot boogie. Ain't nothing but a Sasquatch dancing around. They do the Bigfoot boogie in the parallel ground. Eddie the Lizard, he a beating the drums, and Marcus and George, he's a running his gums. Stan the Snake, he's a playing the bass, and he a...
Welcome back, everyone. Todd Standing is my special guest. We're talking about Bigfoot this hour. And I'd just like to read you a release that came out a while ago. It's from Todd, a Sylvanic Bigfoot press release. The United States government is called upon to vote on the issue of species protection for Bigfoot. The group of independent researchers that had their petition for species protection certified and tabled before the House of Commons in Canada is now following through with the same work in the United States. Canadian citizen Todd Standing and his team have chosen United States Congressman Earl Blumenauer of Oregon to present our species protection petition to Congress. Our petition in Canada was a tremendous success in that it allowed us to make the appropriate connections with the branch of government that is responsible for the implementation of species protection. Because of this preemptive work, the moment we have an intact body for this branch of government to examine, we will have our species protection. And the release goes on to say it has been decided to go forth with the next stage of species protection because we have definitively discovered a new habitat permanently inhabited by species commonly referred to as Bigfoot. This habitat is completely uncompromised and unknown to anyone outside of our research group. Our ongoing study of this habitat began in August of 2009. The first priority of our observations is to discover an intact, recently deceased body that has expired due to natural causes without disturbing the group of animals that reside there. This body will be used to establish legal protection and recognition of the species throughout Canada and the United States. Consequently, wildlife and forestry officers will be required to take action. With our help, other Bigfoot habitats across the continent will be identified and protected. Todd Standing is our special guest, X-Zone Nation. Hats off to Todd for the great work that he's doing with his group. His website is www.sylvanic.com, sylvanic.com. Now, because of the work that you're doing in Canada and the United States, once the Bigfoot is recognized and protected under Canadian law, I would imagine, Todd, and correct me if I'm wrong, that other countries around the world where Bigfoot inhabits will automatically follow suit, and won't the United Nations also get involved at that point?
I would hope so. I know China is on board immediately. In fact, I think China has already taken precautionary measures to that effect. When I played my documentary in Calgary a couple years ago, I had some professors from Beijing University come and meet with me and show me about it's in the public archives, it's on Wikipedia, Langchun, China, where the first ever Bigfoot domicile was discovered back in the 60s. And they'll talk all about it, where they found teeth from Gigantopithecus, which is, I believe, the same species. And they're the experts. They're the Gigano experts, and that's the Yeti there. Years ago, they actually financed me for a couple of years, and what they were looking for was they were waiting for me to have definitive DNA from Bigfoot because they wanted to cross-reference that with the Yeti DNA and prove that they're a related species. But apparently they got that DNA from somebody in Ontario, actually, because I know they were collaborating with the two of us, and they got back to me and said, we've got everything we need. Good luck, and we'll help you out with any way you can. And when your species protection and recognition comes through, we'll be right there with you. But they've got everything they need from somebody, and I don't know what discovery was made in Ontario. I met with those gentlemen a couple years ago, too, in Edmonton when I had my documentary here. But they were very quiet about with what they had, the knowledge that they had, and everything they were doing, and they just, they again said they supported me, but I don't even know how to contact them. So, and hats off to them for all the work they're doing, whatever it is, but and all the success they've had. But there are people out there that know. There are people out there that are doing work and really getting places with it. And I think China is at the forefront. There's been so much DNA and significant evidence that's come out of China. It's been in a dozen documentaries, and they know their stuff. I think they're the Gigantopithecus experts, and I believe the government's involved in everything. And They really had a big conference. I had 2 4-hour meetings with these gentlemen with an interpreter, and they have tremendous evidence. They have a significant knowledge. They're even comparing the habits and the behaviors that Bigfoot does that I know of precisely to what the Yeti does. Like,
wow.
For example, in Langchun, China, the domicile is up on a mountain. Well, I only know how to track these animals and find them in the mountains. And everything they do, everything, like the fact that they're nocturnal, the way they live in caves, everything is precisely on board. And this is evidence that we're talking that's over 100,000 years old that they've made public. And they're the experts. Yeah, their knowledge is tremendous. So and obviously, I believe this is not a missing link. It is the descendant of Gigantopithecus, or it is Gigantopithecus itself that's just evolved separately as a different primate. So, yeah.
Tell me, what was it like the very first time that you saw Bigfoot? You actually saw Bigfoot.
Yeah, I was on 2 different
occasions.
occasions. I have 2 videos that I shot. Video 2 is online. When that day happened, there are no words. I was pretty much in absolute disbelief. I wanted to somehow figure out that I thought the First Nations people were using this mythos to scare people away, and when I saw that animal, and there's a feeling that you get, there's something more than that. And then you stand up there where the animal was 10 minutes ago, and you look at where it went, and you go, a human being can't do that. Like, it rock climbed here and jumped across this mountain. A man couldn't do that. This isn't something in a suit. And then even more so than that, it was that night when those animals came back and were what I would use the term as dominating us around our tent at night, because they're nocturnal, and that's when they were around our tent doing things at night. That's when it was just like a punch in the face. This is an absolute reality. You wake up and you hear some animal fly through the woods and smoke up this rock face like nothing on earth could do. And you realize that's not a ghost. I'm with other people. We all witnessed that, and it's a reality. At first I was terrified. And it just changed. It changes your thinking, because I'm such a civilized person. I'm so bred, on glass. Such a miracle. Mm-hmm. It just inspired me so dramatically. But I had to keep saying it to myself. I even do it to this day. The reality of this species is such a miracle. Like, it's amazing. And they're a peaceful animal that coexist with other animals in the wilderness. They live in equilibrium, in peace. And I just have such an admiration for them and a respect. Like the way people feel about whales and dolphins, and the way other primatologists feel about chimpanzees and gorillas. These animals are amazing, and I'm so inspired by that, and it's the truth. That's what inspires me too. It's the absolute truth of it all. That's what I tell people that are skeptics. You need to focus on something. You need to have some goal in your mind. And if you're thinking about proving that this isn't real, you'll prove it somehow in your own mind. But if you're definitively looking for the truth, and that's what I tell people, because that's ultimately what I was looking for, is the absolute truth. I don't care if I'm wrong. I want to know what the truth is. And that's what I went out looking for, was absolute truth, the facts. And I got it. And I believe, and that is the truth. So.
Todd, is it hypothetical that we may be living amongst other species that have yet been discovered by us because they are that much more advanced and they really know how to avoid us and avoid detection?
Oh, that's such. I don't even know where to begin there. I don't. There's so many other areas to go into. I know this species is real. And for me to sit here and say, well, that's not possible if anything else would be absolutely ignorant. So, but the miracle of this species is real, and it really, what I hope too it accomplishes, it really gives people a good slap in the face to say, look, like, we don't know everything. We have so much to learn. Like, when I was in university and I was dealing with professors, they are so, if it's not in the book, that's not the way it is, and they don't care to think outside the box.
But Todd, we know for a fact that even though they, that the professors and the scientists and the historians have been lying to us over the years. So why would they stop now?
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. I think if anything, it's our responsibility to push the truth.
I agree.
And the truth will always, it's integrity. In lies and deceit, it all falls through. It's a sickness. It has no power against. Like, truth is up there with love, integrity, honesty, like friendship. Like, these are the things that make you strong. And if you just focus on those things and strive for those things, you're making mankind better. You're making the world a better place.
Todd Standing is my special guest, Exonation. I just listened to the conviction in this young man's voice. And by the way, Todd's son is going to be a year old tomorrow. So to your son, Todd, happy birthday from the Exonation.
Thank you.
Are there Bigfoot reports from around the world, or is Bigfoot just localized to, China, Japan, the Himalayas, the Pacific Northwest of Canada and the United States, or are there countries in Europe that also have a family member of Bigfoot?
I don't think Europe. I've never heard much from Europe. Not in recent history, that's for sure. Certainly Australia. They have the Yowie there, and I've been cooperating with people there. I had a good look for about a month. We had a good hard look at the terrain in Australia and to do with the Yowie. And the Yowie would probably be more comparable to what Bigfoot in the southern United States does. Because in truth, I wouldn't know how to study these animals in the swamp. That's not what I study, and I'm sure they exist there. But they're doing things entirely different from the animals I'm studying in the mountains. And I have to focus on my work. I believe this work is it's just such a husbandry. It takes so much. I could spend a lifetime just working on Rocky Mountain Gigantopithecus. So somebody else is going to go have to do figure out how they evade and what they do in the glades, in the swamps, in the flats, in the prairies.
Right.
And there's just so much. But I think once people start to see the truth, when scientists and primatologists and anthropologists can see it, then they'll start seeing it in other places. And that's what we do. And I love the mountains. I love Canada. I love the mountains all the way into the United States. They're so beautiful. And I really, for the most part, I really enjoy my work, except for the wild animals, the bears and the mountain lions, and that. It's pretty scary, And something I've been trying to do for the last couple of years, and that I need probably your help with, Rob, is I've been looking for someone from the media that I want to take, somebody who doesn't believe in Bigfoot, a skeptic, somebody who's got a powerful name and a reputation for integrity. I want to take somebody like that out on an expedition with me.
Mm-hmm.
I want to videos with him. I want him to gather the physical evidence. I want him to become a part of my work, and just because it's such an amazing thing to see somebody's transformation, and I want to document it, and I want to get somebody like that on board because I know I can. It's easy. If somebody sees what I see, they'll believe. I don't care who you are. I don't care how skeptical you are. When you get within 30, 40 meters of one of these guys, when you can do what I can do now, when you feel them, when they're around you, I don't care who you are, you'll believe. And with night vision cameras and all the technology that we have now, I'd like to take somebody out and expand my cooperation significantly and get somebody like that on board because it'll be tremendously helpful for the petition for species protection too. I'm going to have so many people there when I present a body to the governments of Canada and the United States. I'm going to have you there, Rob. I'm going to have people there. You can take your own hair sample, your own DNA. You're going to take photographs. I want multiple. There's not going to be a conspiracy with this.
No.
There's going to be 20 people there of integrity and men of honor that are going to say, I saw that body go off to these men. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I sure do. You're not going to pull another Biscardi stunt. No.
Oh, no. Actually, ultimately, to be honest, I would like the media to be the last to know. I'd like to present this to the government. I'd like the media to find out when the government says this is a protected species. And the media says, what the heck just happened?
Exactly.
Because this man presented a body 3 months ago, and that would be the ultimate way. Actually, I'd like the media to find out after forestry officers are protecting them. Like, why are forestry officers going out there to protect them? Well, this guy presented a body 3 months ago, and this has all been implemented. And if they're the last to know, that's great with me. That's the ultimate way to do it. Even you can tell how it's why are you going to the media? What the heck are they going to do for you? Well, why are you going to CNN? I've been going to CNN for years. They won't do anything to help me or even disprove me or open their mind to what I'm saying.
Well, that's because, Todd, you're serious. You're a serious researcher. You're not one of these Yahoo bimbos like Tom Biscardi who brings these other two guys aboard and they have a gorilla suit frozen in a freezer. You are a serious, dedicated, well-educated person who wants to do things the right way.
Yeah. Yeah, I was actually some radio show 2 or 3 years ago. I went on, had a primatologist from a major university come on with me, and I kept up with him. I've been studying this stuff. This is my life. This is what I do. Like I have a post-secondary background, and when he started to realize that I'm not joking. This is real. And I'll ecologically tell you about their behavior. Like I have a significant knowledge. But with that being said, how tremendous would it be for us to have a primatologist join our crew? And I've been meeting or trying to meet with people from the Jane Goodall Foundation and primatologists from all over the world to say, you would be so helpful to me because there's so much more to hands-on experience, people that have been around gorillas and chimpanzee, not theoretical book stuff that I could read, but people that actually know about their mannerisms and whatnot. That would be so helpful to us. And for so long, I've been trying to get a primatologist to jump on board, and you don't have to believe. Come out here to disprove me, my friend, and me and one other person, a primatologist or a big-name person from the BBC, I will take you and I will show you. It can't be a crew of 10 people. That's ridiculous. People that take you out, if I took out 10 people with cameras and lights, we're not going to see a moose. Never mind an elk. Never mind a buck. Never mind the most elusive species on the planet. And that scares people. The reality of it scares people.
Todd, stand by, buddy. You and I have to take our final break. We're going to have you back on, sure, Todd, because this is going to be an ongoing story, and we will help you any way we can. Todd Standing's my special guest. www.sylvanic.com. SYLVANIC.com. Todd and I will be back as we wrap up tonight's show here on the X Zone from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, on the X Zone Broadcast Network and Talkstar Radio. Don't go away. And welcome back to the X Zone, everyone. I'd like to take this opportunity of thanking all our guests tonight. Andre Van Heerden and I talked about the shadow government in hour number 1. Hour number 2, Richard P. Jackson and I discussed exorcisms, demonic possession, and evil. Hour number 3, Jeff Knott, our resident healthcare expert, and I discussed the U.S. healthcare fiasco. And my guest this hour is a young man who's making a positive difference when it comes to Bigfoot. He is actually getting the government in Canada and the United States now to protect Bigfoot. His name is Todd Standing. His website is www.sylvanic.com, SYLVANIC.com. Todd, there are so many groups, organizations that call themselves researchers, Bigfoot researchers, Sasquatch researchers. They go out to try and document the existence of Bigfoot. Are they hindering the process, or are they aiding in the process?
Well, I think there's a big difference between people that are out there for the business of Bigfoot, trying to make a profit by selling a book or, by promoting a website that has, other information where they make pay-per-click kind of dollars. And I don't really understand that. People that are doing it in that facet have a tendency to be very negative towards actual legitimate researchers. And, I'm certainly not for that. But there are groups out there that's, I can't chastise them because I made mistakes. I did things that were foolish. And if anything, I'd like to cooperate with people like that. Anybody calls me, asks me questions, sends me an email. I mean, I have 12, 15 people now all working with me that have a tremendous knowledge of these animals. And when somebody asks me, should I go out there and throw a net over one? Hell no. This is a community of animals, my friend. You throw a net over one, and 10 are going to come out of the woodwork. Don't do that. And it's whatever I can do to educate people and help people in the discovery of this I'm all for it. Even it may very well not be me that finds a body, but when a body is discovered, I want my protection. And that's the other thing that I did with the Canadian government and want to guarantee in the United States as well, is when our body is discovered, this is still here. Don't forget it. I want that protection. The reality of this species, I can take it to the next level, even if it's discovered by accident, whatever way, and the majority of people that that I've had associations with are really good about their research. They try, they do the best they can, but it's all about cooperation. You've got to cooperate. It's something that even I've learned over the past 2 or 3 years, that the First Nations people have taught me. You've got to cooperate. They extended an olive branch with me, and they trusted me with so much, and I've got to do the same thing. You've got to cooperate. People, if you have a big rock in the middle of the ground, this is just basic physics, and 4 people are pushing it in different directions, that rock is never going to move. But if you all say, hey, come and push in this one way, that rock will move. The biggest rock in the world can move when people push in the right direction. And you have to cooperate to do that.
Todd, I want to thank you so much for joining us tonight. We've run out of time. We'll have you back on in the near future. If you need us, we're here for you, Todd. We really admire what you're doing and the reasons why you're doing it. Todd Standing has been our guest this hour, X-Zone Nation. www.sylvanic.com. So until tomorrow night at 10 o'clock, when once again we cross the time-space continuum to this place that I call the X-Zone, from everyone here to everyone out there, take care of each other and always, always keep your eyes to the sky and your heart to the light. Good night now.
You can't stay